The organ rehearsal stands as the mark of change to art, culture, and life in France at the end of the 19th century. This important painting was completed by artist Henri Leroux, who was a French painter, art patron, and art collector. The painting was completed in 1885 and since then has only received praise and admiration. Laurel was born October 3, 1848, to a bourgeois family in Paris. At the age of 17, Laurel was enrolled in the Académie Suisse as a pupil of Louis Lamothe, who also instructed Edgar Degas. By the age of 20, Laurel had made a name for himself and began to exhibit paintings in various salons throughout Paris. For a time at the beginning of his career, Laurel worked at the Louvre Museum, where he would copy famous paintings to try to improve his skills. During his time at the Louvre, Laurel met up-and-coming French artists, such as Albert Bernard, who would later make a name for themselves in French art and would be influential in his later career. Laurel became a prominent figure in the artistic community in Paris. His home was a popular meeting place among artists and intellectuals, as he became a popular patron of the arts. Laurel was patron to both Edgar Degas and Pierre-Auguste Renoir, two of the most famous artists of the time. Both featured Laurel's daughters in several of their other works, and both became very successful artists. The Organ Rehearsal is the most famous painting made by Henri Leroux. This painting itself stands at 7 feet high and 12 feet wide, and has a commanding size that seizes one's attention. Leroux was raised in a house of devout Catholics and used religious influences as an influence in many of his paintings. The painting takes place in the choir loft of the Church of St. Francis Xavier in Paris, the closest church to the home of Henri Leroux. The painting features a group of people sitting down for a choir rehearsal, with the singer singing to the church. Laurel chose to paint his family members as people in the painting, with his sister-in-law as the singer and his other various family members, including his brother-in-law, the composer Ernest Chausson, as the choir. The artist Laurel uses some impressionist techniques or art movement to style his paintings. The organ rehearsal itself stands as the painting representative of the time period of Paris at the end of the 19th century. After years of political turmoil and different types of rule, France is struggling to define itself and create a stable country. The organ rehearsal's choir is filled with intellectuals and artists of the time. Just as people become more spiritual and go to church during crises, Laurel places intellectuals in the church. He makes a statement that, like a church, the intellectuals are trying to be a stable force and bring France back from chaos. In addition, social change in France can be seen with the use of women in the painting. During this time, women are taking on a greater role in society and fighting for the right to vote. The Catholic Church choir was generally meant for only men, and the fact that women are involved in the rehearsal in Laurel's painting shows the changing roles in society. In addition, Laurel also attempts to ridicule some constraints of society of France in his painting. One of the women in the far right is painted without a hat. This image would have been considered highly provocative and made a mockery of traditional society in the late 19th century. In conclusion, the organ rehearsal is an influential painting whose significance should not be overlooked. Henri Laurel makes a profound impression and commentary on 19th century France with the painting that cannot be ignored. I believe the organ rehearsal will continue to enlighten future generations for years to come.